Hello, 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 and welcome to Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive breaking news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and everything in between every Saturday and now Sunday on YouTube and Castbox. I'm your host, James J. Joining me tonight, Scooter Dust.
What's up?
And as just like last week, Kaliko and Mitch is MIA. As we celebrate 25 years of In Your House by watching along some of the greatest matches the 3 year span had to offer. Last week we watched the Final Four paid preview with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart, Undertaker, and Vader. One of It was an odd time in WWE in February, wasn't it?
It absolutely was. It absolutely was.
But hey, we got a great match out of it.
We
Now,
did.
yeah, and this week we will be wrestling with In Your House Ground Zero, the Patriot versus Bret Hart. Maybe a hidden gem for some people. Um, let's. You're gonna wanna fire up your WWE Network, put in your DVD, put in your VHS, use your Betamax if you still got that. And you're going to want to go to 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 53 seconds into the paid preview. And when I say 3, 2, 1, play, we will watch this match. You get me, Scooter Dust?
Yep.
Are you at 144.53?
I am actually at 144.58, but
Yeah, it's fine. In 3, 2, 1, play. And we're starting 25 years of In Your House with a video package for the match.
yeah. Very rarely do you see a wrestler in a mask gimmick, uh, where he's not wearing the mask all the time.
Right.
Now, for those who are wondering why, and this match was my choice. Um, the this match stands out to me for one really specific reason. Back in July, um,
Hey, it's Sunny.
uh, after um, after Canadian Stampede, um, a group of five guys stepped out to basically, go toe to toe with the Hart Foundation, and the Patriot was one of those guys. Now, I had seen the Patriot as a kid growing up in the GWF, the Global Wrestling Federation. And for those of you who don't know, the Patriot spent some time in WCW as part of WCW Tag Team Stars and Stripes with Marcus Bagwell. Now,
Was Judy Bagwell with him?
no, but this music
sounds familiar for somebody else.
You suck. You suck.
You suck. And we got the
Now,
original In Your House set. We didn't
yep.
get that last week.
Now, on July 28th, when the Patriot made his debut, he had his first match in the WWF with Bret Hart. And probably more shocking than anything else, oh my God,
Young Michael Cole.
or
And
Michael Cole with food poisoning.
he still looks like crap.
Now, July 28th, the Patriot first match against Bret Hart, and to everybody's shock, the Patriot pins Bret Hart clean.
And
Now,
that goes to
yeah,
show you what kind of value they thought the Patriot had at that time.
I mean, this was like, this almost like fell right into their laps. But
Oh, absolutely.
Bruce Pritchard talks about why the Patriot was brought in for this, and he was brought in specifically for this because the Patriot didn't do much else after after this. Actually, he would compete in a flag match tag team flag match 1 month later at Hell in a Cell.
Bad
He would
blood.
team with yep, Hell in a Cell, Bad Blood. He would team with Vader.
That's
Uh,
a crazy. You don't think that these things actually happen, and then you say, "Oh, well, they did." So, a match we
it was
never thought we never wanted to see.
the Patriot and Vader against Bret Hart and the British Bulldog. Now, Bruce Pritchard explains that the Patriots' arrival was really just sheer happenstance. Um, you know, that victory against Bret Hart, boom, instant main eventer. But this is also the WWF cutting off its nose to spite its face.
Bret Hart's jump starting the Patriot there. Start this match.
Because the Patriot, at this point in his career, is, as Del Wilkes said himself, he was damaged goods.
Right.
He had injury after injury, and the WWF didn't properly vet the guy. They went specifically on his past and basically hearsay. Almost like almost. God, and I can't believe I'm actually going to say this. Almost like a mass transit experience if mass transit actually had training.
Well, maybe they were looking at him through rose-colored glasses because Bret Hart at this time biggest heel the company has, and that's in part to him having the anti-American, pro-Canadian gimmick. And oh well, this guy has a Patriot gimmick. Well, Shawn and Undertaker are gonna wrestle for the next 2 months. Throw this guy in. He's perfect.
You also have to take notice of the fact that this is for the WWF Championship. This is not the main event.
No, the WWE CM punking Bret Hart here.
This was at a time where the main event, being the last match, started to lessen. It didn't need to be the last match, as fans were essentially deciding the main event was the match they loved,
Right.
or the match that was actually a great match.
And that great match would be Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker. It ended in no contest. But that would lead us to October, where Shawn Michaels and Undertaker would have probably the greatest match in WWE history, the first ever Hell in a Cell match.
Not their greatest match in WWE history.
Not their greatest match, but one of the best matches in WWE. That first Hell in a Cell match was great. Maybe I never noticed before, but the Patriot was ripped. He was a big guy.
Del Wilkes was a really, really buff guy. And
Going back to '97 when I rewatched the old Raw episodes, I thought the Patriot was Kurt Angle pre-Kurt Angle gimmick. Just solely on the basis of he had the same ring music. I was a kid, I did not know any better.
like I always wondered what would happen in a Patriot versus Kurt Angle match.
Well, he's wrestling Bret Hart right now, like maybe Kurt Angle would. That's definitely something we kind of missed out on. Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle.
Also, Del Wilkes, the Patriot, he's a buff guy, but he's the years of experience he had coming into this. It shows that the muscle bound guys can be technicians. I mean, this is like, and I can't believe I'm actually going to say this. This was almost, in fact, I could probably say this was almost, I like to think, WWF's attempt at a Goldberg type situation.
How do you mean?
They brought, well, I mean, consider they didn't like make him, they didn't make the Patriot, wrestle consistently. The idea was when they brought him in right away on top. That was the idea from the get-go. And the Patriot had never didn't lose, hadn't lost a match. Hadn't lost a match at this point, and they were really they were really going to push him. Um, and if he had been healthier, the you know the history of pro wrestling could have changed, could have gone in a completely different direction. Because imagine for a second, the Patriot wins here. The Patriot wins here, which means he keeps the title going into Bad Blood. What happens at Survivor Series then? Patriot and Shawn Michaels?
I think you're reaching a little bit, Scooter. I don't think. I don't think Patriot was maybe considered for a title run at this time. I think he was only like a placeholder until we get back to Bret and Shawn. Because, they've been trying to get to that singles Bret Shawn match since WrestleMania 12. And, obviously they had the speed bump, they had to tell that story with Undertaker, but they had nothing for Bret. But, that's not to say if Patriot wasn't, healthier after this, that maybe he wouldn't have had maybe an IC title run. I don't think we would have saw Patriot versus Stone Cold versus for the WWE Championship, unless maybe they turned the Patriot heel. One of Bret Hart's signature moves, the uh, finger four on the ring post.
Absolutely brutal and vicious move.
Yeah, Bret was a vicious son of a bitch. Well, planting the seats, and you could see Vince McMahon is just thinking, yeah, I'll get you in November. I'll get you at Survivor Series. Or perhaps
See the
we'll get you at Survivor Series. Yeah, that sounds better. Damn it. Just a bit of context to this. This took place September 7th, 1997, in Louisville, Kentucky, at the Louisville Gardens. Attendance was 4,963. So basically, 2,000, roughly 2,000 people down from the Final Four pay preview we watched last week. It seemed like WWE was starting to catch fire in '97, but their attendance does not represent that.
Well, they're not in the like actual you know like major arenas. At this point for their non Big Four pay per views.
Right. It seemed even
It,
at, WWE's worst time, their major pay previews still sold out, like, WrestleMania or Royal Rumble.
And
This Bulldog is ringside. We didn't say that.
yep,
You think British Bulldog could have been world champion?
no. No.
Any time period?
Put it this way. WCW took him, and WCW wouldn't even put the belt on him.
Yeah, and they put the belt on David Arquette.
The problem is that that roll up there is how the Patriot initially won his first match ever in the WWE against Bret Hart, going for the Uncle Slam.
And you heard the crowd pop when he did it, because they knew too. You know, maybe it's a repeat.
I love that Uncle Slam.
Clever wordplay.
Speaking of WCW,
and how is this not disqualification right now?
this is at the time where WWF was being more lenient. I also think this match, I think the match had to have a finish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that it was no disqualification, no count out. It was that there was going to be a winner.
Alright, well that's fine.
Even that that referee.
I believe that's Mike Chioda.
Yep. The boot! To go for the leg drop.
Hulk Hogan.
It's time for Paul Severe's Midnight Ride.
This guy was heavy on the American references.
Like the Patriot missile. No one's ever gonna win a match with a flying shoulder tackle unless you're LT.
I was just gonna tell you, don't you disparage the great finish of LT.
Hey, does anybody know those guys are holding their sign backwards? Oh, the Patriot with a belly to back. Maybe a German suplex?
German Shepherd suplex. Because there's nothing more American than a German suplex. A German Shepherd.
Is a Patriot und Blitzkrieg? No.
No.
Gotta love a Mexican wrestler with a German name.
Or a Canadian wrestler with a Mexican name. The rest of this paid preview Ground Zero in your house. Your first match was Brian Pillman defeating Goldust with Marlena. Brian Pillman would die 1 month later. Brian Christopher defeated Scott Pudzinski with
Scott Putski. Scott Putski, Ivan Putski's son. I remember that match. I remember it was the finals of the lightweight tournament, or was it just a lightweight match? Because I remember Putski injuring having a really terrible injury and seeing it, and it was looked disgusting.
You got Savio Vega defeating Cross with Farouk,
The Uncle Slam again.
but the referee was. But Bret Hart had his foot on the rope. You had Max Mini defeat El Torito. That happened. Headbangers, Moss and Drasso.
Not wait, not the Los Matadores Torito.
No. You had the Headbangers, Moss and Drasso defeat the Godwins, Henry O. Goodwin, and Phineas I. Godwin. The Legion of Doom, Animal and Hawk, and Owen Hart and the British Bulldog to win
The first
the tag team
uh,
championships.
the first fatal 4-way tag team match
And the
in
main
right?
and probably the only time the Headbangers ever defeated the Legion of Doom. And Shawn Michaels and Undertaker ended in a no contest, and that would be after this match. Now I gotta say, Bret Hart knows how to put on a great match. Whether it's the Patriot, Kevin Nash, the Brooklyn Brawler.
It's a very, very wide distinction. The Patriot or Kevin Nash.
Brooklyn Brawler.
See, there's a distinction here. That's not the sharpshooter.
That was the Scorpion Deathlock?
Yes. That is, in fact, the Scorpion Deathlock. Look at... When Bret does this, he can't do it right. Because he always uses his left leg. The only time he ever uses right is when he reverses it.
So, if you use the right leg, it's
it's a Scorpion Deathlock. If you put the left leg in between, it's a sharpshooter.
Interesting.
And a referee stoppage.
Not something you see every day.
I mean,
Bret Hart telling us to kiss his ass. And a little after match beatdown on the Patriot.
of course, this would serve in the build-up for Bad Blood.
And a flag
Of
match.
course. Yeah.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I will always associate. Yeah. You want to heal? Yeah, have him commit a crime on television.
And those referees are not doing a lot to take him off of him.
It's funny. Bret Hart would get much more of a punishment than Brian Pillman would for brandishing a firearm.
Hey, Stone Cold came into his house.
You had said, 1 month later, Bad Blood, Brian Pillman would unfortunately pass away. He would unfortunately pass away on the day
of
the show.
Bret Hart just attacked Pat Patterson, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Pre-Stooge gimmick, or at least
And
not in front of the camera.
pre-suicidal Tim White.
Yeah, that's right. That's not a wise idea, Mr. White.
The only man who could survive shooting himself in the face with a fan.
Yeah. Name a more hated man in America than Bret Hart in 1997.
Saddam Hussein.
There you go. Bret Hart and Saddam Hussein.
Bin Laden. No. Uh, Possibly also Donald Trump. But
And
it's really it's really a shame that Del Wilkes couldn't have had more time um, in the WWF, only because
absolutely.
he found himself in WCW at the same time Hulk Hogan was in WCW. Now, I mean, Hulk Hogan, versus the Patriot, part of me always wondered, Patriot versus Hollywood Hogan. Ooh, maybe that could have been something.
That could have been something. Yeah.
Like.
If I'm not
But
mistaken, Del Wilkes had some substance abuse problems as well.
yeah, he would also he was also one of the few people in pro wrestling that actually owned the rights to his gimmick.
That's a rare
And
thing to hear in, 97.
he would end up selling the rights to Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, who's that?
Sal Sincere.
Hmm.
The guy that Mark Marrow said, "You're just a jobber. Your name's not Sal Sincere, it's Tom Brady." This was like when they were like, pushing the boundaries of kayfabe and everything, but
Right.
uh, you know, this is, I think, a perfect example of almost a a, a great jumping off point for a what if scenario for an alternate timeline
Oh, absolutely.
in what could have happened if Del Wilkes was 100% healthy.
You're absolutely right. Because if you saw that match that we just saw, he looked like he wasn't 100%, but he looked like $100, like $1,000,000. Um, and he could have had like a longer run in WWE, and you know, maybe he got a championship run out of it somewhere in there of. But you're absolutely right. It's definitely a what if scenario.
I mean, that's why we love. That's why if you were a wrestling fan, in this 3-year time period, you loved, these in your house pay per views because these were the events that were, for the people that couldn't exactly shell out the money for the big four, but you could, shell out, 1995 for one of these.
And if you got the next pay per view, Bad Blood, I mean that was a lot of bang for your buck.
Yes, that absolutely was. Um, and yeah, given what would you know, given we were just 2 months away from the most controversial moment in professional wrestling history.
And I mean, we could go all day with what ifs when it comes to the Montreal Screwjob.
Yes, we absolutely could.
Yeah.
But that's probably another topic for another time.
That being said, we will continue 25 years of In Your House next week. And I believe Kaliko Yacht's pick of Canadian Stampede. So looking forward to watching that one.
And Mitch's pick, I'm predicting, will be, what was the question again? That's what his pick will be.
Oh, absolutely. And if you like the show, please like, subscribe, comment on both YouTube and Castbox. And you can join the conversation on Twitter. You can find me at JamesJ993. Where can they find Scooter Dust?
You can find me at Pornhub TV. No, at Scooter Dust. And, of course, if sports ever actually truly comes back, and I don't mean NASCAR where people make left turns all day, at UNBS Wrestling.
For Kaliko Yachts, Mitch Mayhem, Scooter Dust, I am James J, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.